as Tropical Storm Kulap has formed. So let's get started. Five of Cups. Alrighty, that's probably not a good sign. I'm not sure. Five of Cups. And it looks like I did notice that there's actually descriptions on the animals and plant life involved, so I'll look into that as well into consideration for future readings, and this one included. Um, so, dwelling on things that have not worked out well in the past. If we are drawn the Five of Cups, we are being asked to explore unconscious emotions surrounding our situation. You may be dwelling in self-pity, not realizing that there are two cups filled with new possibilities. Sometimes old cups must be emptied to make room for new experiences in life. So basically, Kulap's likely going to be compared to storms in the past, possibly Murbach. Could see some correlations with that in Murbach. Um, so actually with the animals, so we got the Brant's uh, cormorant, which is the bird, the moon seed, chives, and cornflower. I think those that are good with plants would know what those are. So, yeah, yeah, and cormorants is a seabird. So, um, of coastal western North America, all species of cormorants are fish eaters. So this is going to be a fish storm. That's what that tells me. The fact that a fish eater came up for a typhoon, that's a sign of possible fish storm, meaning no threat to land. Um, with the moon seed, the plant gets its name from the seeds inside each berry, which is shaped like a crescent moon. Uh, Menispermum is from the Greek and means moon and seed. Moon seed is found growing along stream banks and moist woods throughout eastern North America. The climbing vine can grow to about 12 feet and produced greenish yellow flowers that developed into deadly berries. So don't eat the berries, they will kill you. That's what that tells. Okay. Sadness and sorrow. The chive is the smallest member of the alum genus, which also includes onion, garlic, and leeks. It is a perennial with long, hollow, tubular stems and produce beautiful pink flowers. It is a symbol of good fortune and prosperity perched in one of the two cups still standing. It represents new possibilities. So this storm could lead to definitely some new possibilities. And then the cornflower, also known as bachelor buttons. Cornflower is a garden favorite. It is a symbol of love and hope perched in the other remaining standing cup. It represents the potential for positive forces to come into our lives. So, um, Kulap is looking to be more of a positive storm, but don't underestimate it. Don't let the fruits that it, but don't consume the fruits that it bears. Um, be aware of what the storm brings, but no, it can bring positivity. Probably be much needed rain for parts of Alaska later in life. But note that this is more or less talking about early. The first row is talking about early life. The first half of Kulap's life. The second five will be for um, its second half of life. But fish storm, not a threat to land. We got the 8. No, not 8. 10 of Pentacles reversed. 8 has like the pillar. No, it's reverse, which means opposite results. Um, so yeah, 10 of Pentacles represent fulfillment and success. So this storm's not going to be very successful. So this is more or less the 3 cups that kind of spilled out being sorrow. This storm's not going to be very successful. Um, there's a possibility it may not even become a typhoon. Um, so that's what that's talking about. So with the plants, because there's no animal. Oh no, there's an animal. There's honeybee. Yeah, there's honeybees. But we got the 3 sisters: corn, beans, and squash. Native American garden is a traditional Native American garden that existed for centuries. Corn, beans, and squash are the 3 sisters growing together in harmony, harmonious and mutually beneficial relationship. Each plays a crucial role in the success of the garden. The 3 sisters are planted together in a large mound. They thrive joyfully through community and cooperation. So it looks like there's going to be forces at work prying at the storm. So like wind shear, dry air, probably ash from the uh, uh, Sakurajima eruption, maybe. Um, or another volcano nearby might have a blast and provide ash, which would act like this Saharan dust does in the Atlantic with suppressing hurricane development. Um, so, can have like 3 or more forces working against the storm's favor. Um, so, common honeybee is known as the Western or European honeybee. In their evolution and migration across the planet, honeybees have learned to adapt to climates all over the world by synchronizing their breeding cycles with the blooming of local flora. Observing with amazing adaptations in nature serves to remind us to act in harmony with the totality of our world. Honeybees represent observing and honoring our social networks. They symbolize wisdom, productivity, prosperity, and the purity of the soul. The geometric pattern of the cells in the hive is symbolic of perfect order, stability, creative excellence, and sharing from the heart. Honey is a rare and natural food made without destroying any life. This reminds us to incorporate our spiritual gifts into all our actions so that the outcome will always be for the betterment of all life and our extended kinship. So, um, basically, what that means is, well, reverse is, again, there's stuff that's not going to, there's forces at work that will not benefit the storm. It's not going to benefit its growth. 6 of Pentacles reversed. It looks like we got either moths or butterflies, and there's bamboo. Um, so 6 of Pentacles, easy to recognize a balance in its key message. So again, this does reiterate in the past couple that the storm's not going to be very balanced. There's going to be some obstacles for the storm to overcome. Giant silk moth. The family of silk moths, known as Saturnidae, is found worldwide and contains more than 1,000 species. These are the world's largest, most spectacular moths. The giant silk moth, native to South America, is a striking moth, rich brown in color with translucent patches on its wings. In some parts of the world, these moths are cultivated for the large cocoons they spin, which are used to produce coarse silk. Symbolically, the silk moth represents balancing hard work and activity with calmness. This moth and tranquility. This moth teaches us that when to let go and when to cling on. So like choosing your battles, picking your battles. Lessons relevant to our emotional, intellectual, and physical well-being. The silk moth expresses the arts of gathering and harvesting, using strength or softness. So, with it being reversed, the storm is not going to be very strong. And the balance of taking and giving. Moths are given, or also represent transformation because of their fascinating growth stages, known as metamorphosis. Because moths are often active at night, their transformation is symbolic of unconscious progress or changes we make unknowingly. And you got bamboo and pipsissewa. Um, so go for the pipsissewa first. It is a little evergreen perennial with glossy leaves and rosy pink flowers, native to the northern regions of North America and Europe. Uh, Pipsissewa has many medicinal uses that are known to indigenous people and early settlers. The name comes from the Cree word Pipsissequa, um, meaning it breaks into small pieces. It is believed that the plant had the medicinal power to break up kidney stones. It represents money, though, symbolically. So that tells me with this being reversed, if this storm manages to impact something like a ship, it's going to be costly. Despite it not getting very strong, it's going to be costly. And bamboo, largest member of the grass family and one of the fastest growing plants on Earth. Again, that talking about rapid intensification. If that wasn't reversed, we were looking at possible rapid intensification. But it's reversed, meaning the storm's not going to get very strong, or if it does, it's going to take a lot of time to do that. It's going to take its sweet time growing. Um, and that reiterates that. Knight of Swords reverse, which means Storm's going to be moving slow. It's going to be a relatively slow mover. As for the animals, we got the Great Road Runner and the Beaver Tail Cactus. The Road Runner, that again, this reiterates that the storm is going to be slow moving, slow growing. With the Road Runner. But the Beaver Tail Cactus is a low spreading prickly pear cactus that crawls up to 6 feet wide. It inhabits dry, rocky slopes in the deserts of the southwestern U.S. Its grayish, its grayish green jointed stems are wide and flat and resemble the tail of a beaver, from which it takes its name. It does not have any visible spines, but close inspection will show very tiny spines set in small pockets. The young fruits, which follow the blossoms, have always been a food source for Native Americans of the region. The symbolic meanings of the cactus include uh, uh, bravery, endurance, and grandeur. The dynamic Knight of Swords put these qualities into play, and this character takes charge of any situation. But again, with this being reversed, um, Storm. That also reiterates that this storm is generally not going to be a threat to land. Um, Eight of Pentacles, not reversed. Um, okay. So let's talk about hard work towards the end of its first half. Looks like the storm's probably going to be relatively successful. Eurasian Skylark, that's the bird, and we got the rock there is the smoky quartz crystal, and it looks like the plant around the pinnacles is the Clematis Barbara Jackman. With that is a vigorously climbing woody plant, native to most of the temperate regions of the world. The majority of its large, flowered, popular garden varieties have come to us from Japan and China. Barbara Jackman is a beautiful purple-blue color, which touches with touches of magenta. It produces large blooms with 8 petals on each flower, in keeping with the numeric theme of our card. Clematis are symbolic of ingenuity, cleverness, and intellectual talents. And with the crystal, pure quartz crystals are clear, but crystals can form in a variety of colors. Smoky quartz ranges in color from brown to black. Exposure and natural radiation is believed to cause its color. Fine smoky quartz are mostly common in Scotland, Switzerland, Brazil, and the US. As a healing tool, smoky quartz is believed to increase creativity because it has a grounding nature. It draws energy to the physical body. It creates a foundation from which spirit can manifest in the physical. Connecting with smoky quartz instills in us a sense of pride and responsibility and encourages us to seek a higher quality of life as we walk the earth. So if I could zoom out, that would be nice. But yeah, and then with the bird, is nondescript small brown bird that is home to open farmland and heath. It is native to Europe, Asia, and northern Africa. This lark is also seen on rare occasions along the North American Pacific coast and western Alaska. Now, we got a couple of these birds showing up western coast of the U.S., particularly Alaska. Now, does this mean Kulap could be a threat to Alaska later in life? We'll see. It is famous for its incredible uh, um, uh, melodious song. Um, uh, melodious, which is impeccably executed while it's in flight at heights of 150 feet or more. The song may last 2 or 3 minutes while the male hovers in the air, attempting to attract its mate. So again, this tells me that this may be a threat to Alaska. This might pull a Murbach with Alaska. Albeit a weaker version of Murbach, but may try to pull a Murbach. Got the 6 of Wands. So, and 6 of Wands represent victory and success. So, looks like down the line the storm will be a bit more successful in becoming a typhoon. Like my guess is with this, it'll become a typhoon in the latter parts of its life. Towards the second half of its life. So, and again, another moth, garden tiger moth, found throughout Europe, Asia, and North America. It is a year-long cycle that begins when the egg hatches into a caterpillar in August. It then winters in protected places before entering the pupa state in spring. Okay, so it's a caterpillar that hibernates in the winter. Interesting. In this card, the tiger moth is youthful but mature. The mature moth represents the attainment of adulthood, with wings ready to fly, so that it could enter its newly discovered environment. The moth teaches us to free of unwanted influences, so that tells me that the storm is gonna break away from its chains. Its chains that kept it weak in its early stages. So we got mountain laurel, which native to the eastern coast of North America, ranging from Maine to Florida. It was introduced into Europe as an ornamental in the 18th century. In its native habitat, it prefers rocky slopes and mountainous forests. Now, the fact it's found in Florida is a bit peculiar. So, I'm thinking it's more of a Appalachian-friendly plant. Um, but yeah, which can grow. The mountain laurel shrub, which can grow as tall as 12 feet, blooms in late spring and early summer and produces a display of distinctive pink flower clusters. Hello, Chaley. Yeah, doing this real quick. Okay, hold on. What? Okay, hold on. This is some pop-up thing. Um, it's over. I don't know what that was. But yeah. Getting tarot reading done for the newly formed tropical storm near, I want to say Japan. Um, but yeah. Mountain laurel forms the wreath that is suspended from the triumphant wand. Um, the laurel wreath is always a symbol of victory. Again, that means towards the latter parts of its life, Kulap could very well become a typhoon. The magnificent Wilson's magnolia is native to China. It is occasionally introduced into warm climates, but is difficult to cultivate and needs a highly protected environment. In its native China, it is becoming rare and it is threatened by the destruction of habitat. It grows as a shrub or small tree and is covered with fragrant, cup-shaped white flowers from late spring to early summer. The moth is perched on a magnolia, a splendid beauty. Magnolia has many wonderful symbolic meanings corresponding to the Six of Wands. Indicates a high-souled character who is noble, dignified, powerful, and proud. So, this may end up turning into something stronger in its later days. Um, Queen of Pentacles reversed. Alrighty, that's a doozy. Um, so Queen of Pentacles is talking about fully aware of the bounties of the earth. So this storm might have some record-breaking aspect to it. Probably more or less location-based, not necessarily strength-based records. But yeah, this basically tells me that with it being reversed, it might break some sort of record of some kind. So we got the golden northern bumblebee, scarlet daylily red rim, a, 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 a sphagnum moss, I could not pronounce that, and northern blue violet. So the bumblebee, more than 250 species of bumblebee located mostly in the northern hemisphere, live in forest clearings, open areas where wildflowers are abundant. Bumblebees are active in gardens and always seem surrounded by flowers. These bees are vital pollinators, and for this reason they are symbolic of fertility and productivity. And yeah, the scarlet daylily, the red-rimmed daylily, is a lovely scarlet variety of the perennial daylily that produces flowers of summer all summer long, but the flowers rarely last more than 24 hours, which explains the name daylily. It is well known to gardeners as a bold, vigorously flowering plant that works well in borders and for naturalizing. So again, this just, with it being reversed, it just reiterates the storm might break a record or two. The northern blue violet, also known as the northern woodland violet, is native to the northern regions of the American continent. So I guess pushing towards Alaska, maybe? Again, that kind of screams that this may end up posing a threat to um, Alaska. Um, and in moss, also commonly known as shaggy peat moss, is a member of the genus As- Aspag- Sphagnum, which contains more than 100 species. These amazing plants grow like a dense carpet, and their cellular structure can hold 16 to 20 times their weight in water. Even parts of the plant that have died can hold water. The moss spreads, forming dense peatlands or bogs that provide a wet habitat for water-loving flora such as sages, shrubs, orchids, and carnivorous plants. Moss is symbolic of maternal love and charity. So the storm might be a bit feisty in its later days. Um, but will it be a threat to land? Will it be a threat to um, Alaska? Okay, Six of Swords reversed. Um, that's interesting. So Six of Swords, when it's not reversed, is talking about awakening at the cost of some sort of sacrifice. With it being reversed, does that mean because despite the sacrifice, no one's going to wake up? Because I think that might be the case. So, Six of Swords represents a transition into higher state awareness that requires a loss of some kind. So that's what I'm getting out of this. I'd like to be able to balance this a bit better, but I'm just not equipped right now. So that what tells me that despite what the storm is going to do, whatever record breaking it's going to do, people are not going to. People are still going to be sleeping on the whole climate change situation. Um, so Western skink, got Indian pond lily, and a sessile bellwort. So with the skink, very secretive and agile river, a lizard, it thrives in dense vegetation where it forages for a variety of insects. The skink ranges throughout the western states and provinces of North America. So could the storm later on be a threat to the Pacific Northwest? Because that is a possibility. The young skink has a distinctive bright blue tail. If captured by a predator, the tail will break away and continue to wiggle, distracting the predator while the skink makes its escape. The skink has lost his tail and is in despair, an expression of the loss indicated by this card. Um, Symbolically, the lizard represents the ability to let go, more specifically, to let go of the ego. The lizard suggests that we pay attention to dreams and visions and listen to subtle messages that bring attention to our hidden hopes and fears. With a new perspective, we can more clearly analyze our present situation and move forward with confidence. Symbolically, the lizard is the master of subtle perception. So the pond lily is a member of the water lily family. It ranges from Alaska to California and as far east as Colorado. So, again, this tells me later in life this thing could be a threat to Alaska and the Pacific Northwest. Um, it's closely related to the yellow pond lily of eastern North America. Its round, yellow flowers emerge from murky depths of ponds and quiet streams, and they are attached to roots that are buried deeply in the mud below. The familiar leaf of the pond lily, commonly called a lily pad, is home to um, frogs, dragonflies, and other water-loving creatures. Native Americans dug the rootstock and used it for many medicinal purposes. In this card, the pond lily um, leaf represents the water element. Okay, also gotta remember that this is reversed, so storm may not bring a lot of moisture, um, and despite being a threat, it may not do so much. Um, and the bellwort, common woodland wildflower. The flower hangs in delicate, narrowly shaped bells that are creamy white in color. It ranges from the northeastern region of North America as far south as the Gulf Coast and as far west as the Dakotas. Symbolically, bellwort represents hopelessness. So the bedraggled little blossoms suggest the difficulties that we have been passing through as we now move into a calmer, more mindful state. Um, so I still think it's going to be a threat to Alaska. It just may not be as moisture driven as previously thought. Not sure how the bellwort fits into this, but I guess people are a bit more hopeful because there's not a lot of rain forecasted. Hello, Kyle. But yeah, that's what I'm getting out of that. I got 2 of Pentacles, a Flamingo, and Cattail, and some other plant. So let's get to the Pentacles. Not 6 of them. That's actually earlier in the reading. 2 Pentacles. Okay, so again, later on life, the storm will be a little bit more balanced. The Flamingo is identified by its striking pink coloration, bright black feathers, and black markings on its beak. The pink in its feathers is derived from ingesting organisms found in its feeding habitats. American flamingos breed and thrive in Central America. They range as far north as Florida, where they reside in coastal mudflats and lagoons. The symbolism of the flamingo includes balance and understanding how to maintain a state of balance, graceful motion, and migration. So yeah, the storm's gonna definitely be traveling, but it's gonna be pretty balanced at it too. The broadleaf cattail is a wetland plant that provides habitat to many marsh animals and birds. It is one of the most common plants in shallow and slow-moving waters, marshes, and ponds. It spreads by creeping roots called rhizomes, which must always be wet. Cattails grow quickly and can form dense patches in a short amount of time. So this might have a little bit of rapid intensification towards the end of its life. Not much, probably not much, but might have a little bit of burst of energy. But yeah. And can form dense patches in a short amount of time, sometimes taking over entire ponds in their quest for water. They can effectively turn ponds into swamps and then into dry land in an effort to quench their insatiable thirst. The cattail symbolizes strong earth energy, balance, and stability, as well as peace and prosperity. And then finally, we have English ivy. This old world vine covers the walls of castles and cottages alike, and widespread throughout its native range from Europe to Western Asia. And ground cover that grows with great vigor and climbs by aerial roots. It travels up walls, trees, rocks, fences, and anything in its path. English ivy is host to a plethora of wildlife. Looks like the berries are edible, at least to birds, and at least 70 species of nectar-feeding insects are known to be attracted to its flowers. Its much beloved plant, English ivy, has traveled into gardens everywhere. It is, however, an opportunist and can become invasive if not kept under control. So it's like mint in that aspect. The ability of the ivy is to climb and spread, represents flowing, harmoniously. So this storm's definitely going to be zooming to the north. That's what that tells me. This storm's going to be zooming to the north. Um, and we got 4 swords, which... But zooming, and then once it gets to the north, it's going to pause. So maybe Bering Sea, west coast of the U.S., something of the likes. But it's likely to have a bit of a pause. So 4 swords. Yeah, so we got Praying Mantis, Lily of the Valley, and Northern Red Oak. So, Praying Mantis, known as the European Mantis as well, known and widespread throughout the world. They were accidentally introduced into North America from Southern Europe in 1899 aboard some nursery plants. They thrived in the eastern U.S. They were immediately recognized as the most beneficial predator. The mantis then spread throughout the northeastern states across Canada and west to the Pacific coast. Again, could this thing be a threat to the Pacific coast of the U.S., Canada, Alaska? Because I have a good feeling that it might. Answering never did get any major arcana. It's all like the 4 cups and stuff like that. Like, that aspect. But yeah. Solitary creature. So this storm's going to be working alone. Northern red oak is native in much of the eastern U.S. and southeastern Canada. Fast-growing tree, growing as much as 20 feet in 10 years, so about 2 feet a year. At maturity, it can reach 400 feet in height. Its deciduous leaves turn into a vibrant red and a deep red in the fall. The oak, the tree of great strength, has been considered sacred by almost every culture throughout history. Its many symbolic meanings include stability, nobility, courage, and independence. Oak is also a tree of personal protection. The 4th sword is resting on the oak branch, should it be needed. And with the lily of the valley is a small, sweetly scented flower native to Europe. It is adaptable to a wide range of growing conditions and is spread all over the world. It is commonly featured in many North American gardens. It has also escaped to the countryside, where it has readily naturalized its interesting step-like pattern of flowers along a tall stalk and inspired medieval monks to name it the plant ladder to heaven. Lily of the Valley is endearing and historically appeared in a great deal of art and literature, and is the subject of many legends. So, like, I think that would also include, like, Jack and the Beanstalk. In the 4 swords, the Lily of the Valley appears to be stained in the stained glass window panels, framed by 3 swords at rest. Stained glass windows are considered symbols of spiritual renewal. Lily of the Valley represents a return to happiness, perfect purity, and humility. So this thing could bring about beneficial rains to the Pacific Northwest of the U.S., especially if it pauses. And considering 4 swords usually mean a pause, it might have a little bit of a stalling out. Which actually coincides with this earlier in life, so it might have a repeat. So, with that, that does seem to be it for right now. So, stay safe out there. See you in the next video or stream. Bye.